because that is purposely built into the exam as far as I understand. Now, the best way for you to do it is learn as little as possible through studying, learn most of it through problem solving, because through problem solving you are learning both. You're learning the concepts, you're learning the problem solving. Now, the disadvantage is whenever you try to do this thing, it is uncomfortable. You have to get used to the discomfort that this is how it's going to be, and take it forward. If you don't do that, what will happen is you'll go to the exam. I am sure many of the people who are doing 11, 12, 15, whatever number of attempts, so they're really getting good at theory. They're never getting good at problem solving. Okay, so do not do that. You will just become another theory expert. You can actually teach after so many attempts to many people, but you cannot problem solve. If you cannot problem solve, it has no value. As far as CA is concerned. So,
one important aspect when he says theory, it's not technical theory. Even when it comes to a standard, accounting standard, you have a very superficial understanding, not a deep understanding. So you'll understand some numbers, you'll write some numbers. It's not technical theory alone. So problem solving is your ability to apply everything you learn. So that requires a deeper and far more complex understanding of the topic.
It's not just understanding, you have to also have the ability to problem solve. The problem solving is its own ability. It's completely different. Like for instance, that is why if you see all the people who put in that kind of effort, for instance in hard exams like JEE or maybe CA, after the exam, obviously, once you hear that they cleared the exam, you will assign a certain intelligence to them. But even otherwise, if you observe, you will see that they are smarter because they build the problem solving ability. And if you put them in a situation which they don't know, the problem solving ability carries across domains. Your knowledge doesn't carry across domains. Like you learn CA, you will be good at CA, but you become good at problem solving, your problem solving in a business. Your problem solving is setting up like some Chayanda stuff. So that ability is a completely different ability. You have to build it. If you don't build it, you should not do CA. That's it. So if you try to learn, you'll miss this. This one I don't know how. This is the crux of your shift in the progression. You have to do many other things, but if you don't make this shift, it doesn't matter what you do, you will not clear.
So to start with problem solving, what kind of an overview we need?
So basically you have to know, when you read the question, you have to know the definition of the terms, and you have to know the purpose of the chapter as a whole. Like this is the discussion that we are having. Like for instance, you were just explaining marginal cost, right? Like when we were discussing. You have to know why that is important as far as finance is concerned. Like knowing that what does it benefit someone who knows that, if they know that about a business, what does it benefit? If you know these two things, you stop your learning and move to problem solving, because that's enough. Everything else you learn during the problem. So your problem solve, when you solve problems, it's not a test. Understand this again and again. That's a part of the learning process. Actually, that is when your learning starts. The rest of it is just warm up. You are just learning what the terms are. That is all warm up. Your actual study starts when you start problem.
So what about the concept clarity?
Radha, can you get me the textbook once?
That is what the concept clarity comes when you do problem solving. Like for instance, again I will explain something with you. So let's say there is an arithmetic progression. We were having this discussion again. So when you look at an arithmetic progression without learning anything, what does it look like? Let's say you never studied an arithmetic progression. You see an arithmetic progression, like even numbers. What does it look like when you see it?
Consecutive range.
Yeah, the sequence of numbers. There seems to be some order, right? That's a vague, superficial understanding. But when you want to understand, when you want to assign precision, if you say what is the determinant for a sequence to become an arithmetic process? That is, the difference between two consecutive numbers should always remain same. That is a precision, right? That conceptual clarity you can learn by spending more time on the definition, or you can just do the problems and that will automatically force you to get that conceptual clarity. Don't get the conceptual clarity by reading. Get the conceptual clarity by problem solving. That is the most important. Just get a contour of the definition of the terms. Contour means just like a vague idea of what that is. It shouldn't look like you never read that term or you don't know what that term is. It is hard. When I say hard, it is psychologically hard because you're constantly faced with. It's like you're constantly getting rejected by your problems.
Should we take help of videos even if like?
See, it's simple. Your job is to do as many problems as possible with as little studying as possible. Okay, it's not about how videos or not. As little video, as little studying as possible.
Get to the point where you can solve. I'll show you a practical example of how we are doing it. So last time for inter students, like if you look at it, so this is a particular chapter. All of them are doing for the very first time. In fact, it's been ages since I did it. So for me, it's the first time. So how did we start? The first and foremost thing ICA has is, it has something called learning objectives. Okay, learning outcomes are learning objectives. So first important thing is, when you look at the chapter called budget or budgetary control, you have to have a very clear and deep understanding of the definition. So what exactly is the budget and why do we need budget control and all of that. And you have to know what are the learning outcomes. All the learning outcomes are clearly mapped, and once you flip the page, there is a chapter overview. So this is the first time, which you can get it in 10-15 minutes. Okay. Once you are done, you directly move on to the last page, where there is a summary. Most of the time there is a summary. So summary will be extremely helpful. Now pay extra attention to summary, because this will summarize the whole chapter. This is very important, where you can learn it very slowly but thoroughly. Okay, this is one. And once summary is done, MCQs will provide you pointers on what exactly is the perimeter. Sub-perimeter, I would say, not the outer external boundary, sub-perimeter in terms of what are the kind of questions which can be asked, and quickly jump into 2-3 practical problems. Quickly go through them, learn from them. Don't try to memorize or don't try to solve them, just learn from them about what exactly. So then you'll realize most of the questions are linked to these ratios. So we directly jump to these ratios, learn these ratios and start solving the problems. And in this cycle, most of the problems got resolved. Once this is done, then the rest of the chapter, we finish the whole chapter. But this is the first thing which we finished. Similarly, for marginal costing, this is where we started. So we understood what exactly is there. Overall understanding is marginal costing and CVP, cost volume profit analysis. And then there are some terms which you have to understand. For this, we directly went into the book here. So every term is explained here, and we're jumping into MCQs. So this is exactly how you can get to the point where you can start solving problems. So this is exactly what I said. The fastest you can get to the point of problem solving, that's where your learning starts. So I hope this is clear, and probably you can apply this for the next standard, which is solved tomorrow. And from there things will be clear. And moving ahead, now this will become a part of your learning material, because if you look at the question, you have processed this, right? You have processed this. You have put in mental bandwidth into this. So much time, you have to respect your time. You should not throw it away. This is high value information, which is far more valuable than watching thousands of videos. You put your mental intent, mental time, you solve something, you're looking into the answer, you're checking this, you're marking this. So this becomes a significant material for you to cover this portion. Now, today it doesn't make sense, but 10 days down the lane, when you have far more better understanding, you'll get everything very fast. So that is good enough for you to answer any question in that point. Okay, so this is what you have to know before you get started with any particular paper. Okay.